And we are live. Welcome, mystery and thriller fans. I'm your on-air host, Sara DiVello, and I am so excited to welcome to the show tonight my friend and fellow Philadelphian, Vincent Tirado, here to give us the inside scoop on their brand new book. We came to welcome you. Vincent, welcome to Mystery and Thriller Mavens. Tell us about this book.
Of course. So We Came to Welcome You follows Sol Reyes, who is a Dominican scientist currently on probation because of a string of incidents that happened. So that's important. Remember that. She and her wife, Alice Song, who's a Korean woman, they finally have enough money to buy their first home in this luxurious neighborhood called Mainless Grove. And while Alice seemingly falls in love with it, she's adoring how green everything is. She loves having her own home. Soul is definitely not loving it. She thinks that there's something very creepy going on because she's seeing eyeballs in the vents. She's seeing people's shadows moving when they're not supposed to be. And then, she tries to explore the neighborhood and the streets all look the same, but she's pretty sure that the streets are winding around her, trying to keep her lost. So all these things keep happening when Soul is alone, and because of her past history with the job situation, she's now wondering, oh, am I actually going insane, or is there something wrong with this place?
That is the question we are all wondering, but deep down, as the hairs on the back of our necks stand up and this chills run down our spines, and we start to see shadows moving against the walls, which I swear I thought I saw when I was reading this book last night, and I had to get up and turn on the lights and look under the coffee table and reassure myself that there was no shadow. I was by myself.
Yeah.
The suspense goes great. So I have a lot of questions for you, Vincent, and I know others do as well. And I can't wait to get into all of them. But first, I just want to welcome everyone because we are broadcasting live to 6 different destinations across Facebook and YouTube. So mystery and thriller lovers, no matter where you're watching from, you are in the right place. This is the right time. It is Mystery Monday, and because Mondays can be murder, we're going to make it a little less painful and get your week off to a killer start. So if you've been here before, you know the drill. And if you're new, welcome, friends. We're so happy to have you. Here's the drill. Every Monday, I give you my handpicked featured authors, and you get to ask them anything. So ask Vincent about this creeptastic suburban development. Ask about the character Soul. Ask about the practice of writing horror. Ask them anything you want. What happens on Mystery Thriller Mavens stays on Mystery and Thriller Mavens. It's like Vegas, but more murdery. Oh my goodness, I see my favorite librarian, Tabresia Jones, is in the house. Hi, Tabresia. Welcome to the conversation. Tabresia is a librarian at the New York Public Library. And
Tabresia, wait, I know Tabresia. Ah! I love Tabresia. Yeah.
I know Tabresia. How do you know Tabresia?
I've gone to the library she works at and have done many events with her. I also, we were together in Chicago for, I believe it was, I want to say it was ALA, but I could be wrong. We also watched a movie together. We had a great time in Chicago. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I remember when Tabresia was at ALA in Chicago. Wait, do you have a kitty friend who's just appeared? Who's this kitty? Let's see the kitty.
He is he just wants attention. Every time I'm in doing anything on my computer, he's just like, okay, it's time to cuddle.
Oh my God, I want to cuddle that cat. Wait, what's his name?
Bugsy.
Oh my God, Bugsy, the gray and white cat. Look at his sweet little face and his little white muzzle. Oh my God, I love him. Oh, Bugsy, I want to snuggle you. Also, Bugsy's a sizable cat.
Yeah, he's a Siberian forest cat, so he's very chunky.
Yeah,
that's just how it is.
Bugsy is the size of my dog, I think. Oh my God. Hi, Bob Bailey. I see you. Bob's been on the show a couple times. Hi, Bob. Welcome to the conversation. Our fellow thriller author down in Alabama. Bob, good to see you. But anyway, back to Tabresia. So Tabresia Jones runs the Dueling Detective series for the New York Public Library, does all sorts of amazing things, was a speaker at Thriller Fest, and comes on once a quarter and gives us her top book pick. So Tabresia Jones, you got fans here in the house. Sharon Bishop is joining us from YouTube saying, howdy to you, Sharon. Randy T says, hey, Sarah, sorry I missed this week. Randy, that's okay. You're here now. That's what counts. Hi to Sybil. Hi to Nancy. Hi to Renee. Hi to Robin. Hi to Jane. Hi to Joe. Curtis, Allen, Susie, good to see you. Liza, hello. Hi, everybody. Okay, so let's dive into some of this. So, Vincent, first of all, tell us how the heck you came up with this idea, because I mean, I'm so intrigued about every single part of this, but specifically, I want to know. Well, first, tell us how you came up with the idea, and then I want to know how you came up with some of the creepiest stuff. But we'll get into that after you tell us the first part. How did you come up with this idea?
So a couple of years ago, when I was doing my master's degree in Ohio, me and a lot of the other grad students were not going to fly home for Thanksgiving weekend. So one of us decided to, she was like, "Oh, I'll host a Thanksgiving dinner for all of us. How do you come over?" I'm like, "Sure, okay, that's totally fine." I was living in Shaker Heights at the moment, in Cleveland. She comes to pick me up. I get
Wait,
in the
was
car.
Shaker Heights where Celeste Ng set little fires everywhere? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my, okay, it's all making sense now.
Yeah. When
If
I saw that
anybody else,
book, I was like, I know where that's at.
if anybody else read Little Fires Everywhere, you know exactly what Vincent is talking about. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
so you go to Friendsgiving
Yeah.
and,
So
and
yeah, I was in Shaker Heights, but she comes to pick me up, and we pick up everybody else, and we're driving along, and at some point, like, she stops the car, and I see we're at a gate, and she has to show her ID to like the security person, and I'm just like, did we leave the state? Like, what did I thought we were just going to your place? No, she lives in a gated neighborhood. So we're driving in, and it is late at night. It is late at night. So I everything just looks exactly the same. It's pitch dark, but all these houses look exactly the same, and I can't tell where we're going. But at some point, the car stops, and she's like, "Okay, this is my place." And I'm looking at her house and all the other houses, and I'm like, "Are you sure? Are you like this one? This because I have no way of distinguishing this
they
from
look
any of
the
the other
same.
houses."
Yeah.
I was like, "How do you know where you live?" I completely flabbergasted me, and I just kind of held on to that for years. It's just like, how do these people, distinguish themselves in any way so that they can find? Because the one thing, if you are someone like me who gets lost often, you need landmarks. You need visual landmarks to know, okay, I know this is here. That means the location I'm trying to get is there. But if everything looks the same, it is very difficult to get your footing.
And yeah, and there are those sites, like you'll see it out in Vegas, frankly, in Nevada, or sometimes in the suburbs in Philadelphia. You're like, oh my God, am I going around in circles, or is
Yeah.
this the exact same street? Okay, so you're in, I can't believe it, the site of Little Fires Everywhere, the real life site of Celeste Ng's Little Fires Everywhere, which of course became the series starring Reese Witherspoon, Kerry Washington. Amazing, amazing, brilliant. And all the houses start to look alike. And you think to yourself, what if Soul moves here? And then some really crazy stuff. Now, some of the stuff was so creepy and so scary. Vincent, how did you come up with that without any spoilers? But like eyeballs, plants, I mean vines. Like, what? Tell us everything. How did you come up with things like that?
I often go with the question, wouldn't it be messed up if I did this? And then I just kind of do it. Like, I just think of what's the worst possible thing someone can see in like a tiny air vent, and it's like an eye blinking, because what the hell is that? For okay, so no spoilers, but the trees in particular. I
Yeah.
have a friend who who works in forestry. And I hit him up one day. I'm like, "Hey, Mick, quick question. Can you tell me like creepy facts about the forest? Just creepy tree facts?" And he
Oh
was just like, "Oh," and he wanted to know a little bit more. I was just like, "Okay, so for this particular location, like what would be like the weirdest sort of tree?" And he's like, "Oh, if you want like a really creepy tree, get this type of tree, because the way that the leaves are angled when they grow out, when the wind is swaying, it sounds like people clapping." And there's nothing more terrifying than going on a simple walk alone, and then there's a simple breeze, and now you feel like you're in a crowd, but there's no one around you.
Oh my God, that is super, super creepy. Yes, because I think it's the idea of because actually fear is really hard to write on the page, because you veer very quickly and very easily into cheesy. You're going for fearful, but quickly it could get cheesy. I learned that the hard way. And I think one of the scariest things is the idea of being watched, of something or someone being there and you can't see it, but they are there. I mean, that's really um that's really scary. And it's so interesting to know that you have a creepy tree fact source, Vincent. I didn't know that there was, such people. Oh my gosh, we have Elizabeth joining the conversation. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome. We have hi, Read Love Listen. Welcome to the conversation. You're saying good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And oh my goodness. Okay. So Vincent, I want to talk about some of the praise that the book has earned. So let's talk first from about this review from Eric LaRocca, author of Things Have Gotten Worse since the last time we spoke, which is a book that is new to me, but I love it on the title alone. So Eric says, a sinister and compelling psychological chiller about the perils of assimilation in a community that doesn't want you. Difficult to read at times, but that's simply because Vincent Tirado's writing is so raw, so corrosive, so undeniably brilliant. We Came to Welcome You is nasty, playful, and deeply unsettling. I loved that review because it honed in on so many of the things that as a reader I experienced. Raw writing resonates with me. Vincent, how do you write raw well? Because I know for me, it's hard not to self-edit. Like I have that little editor voice person in my head saying, that sounds stupid. Like or whatever mean little thing the editor on my shoulder says. How do you silence that? Or maybe you don't have that voice.
I think for me, it's a matter of trying to find out, like, why does this sound stupid to me? Like if because sometimes maybe the voice is right. Like maybe I wrote this in a way that wasn't effective, didn't get the point across the way I wanted it to. So I usually try to figure out, like, okay, do I not have enough written here? Did I write too much? Is less more? Like, what should I play with here? And that's like kind of how I work with the feeling. I don't like deny it. I don't like pretend it's not there. I try to work with it to see, like, okay, the goal for me in any book that I'm writing, the goal is to write an effective story with like an effective theme that is present throughout the entire story. So normally anytime I hear that voice, I'm like, okay, something's not right. How is this not aligning with a theme? Did I write too much, too little? Like let's see what's going on here. Let's diagnose this problem.
Ooh, I like that. Working with the voice. Oh my goodness. Award-winning author Tracy Clark has entered the chat. Oh, hey, Tracy Clark. Hi, Tracy. Oh my God. I'm a Tracy Clark stan. I have interviewed Tracy, I don't even know, 5 times and had the great pleasure of interviewing Queen Tracy. She says, unsettling works for me and I am looking forward to this. Tracy, I don't know if you've read Vincent's book yet, but it is so freaking great. I absolutely loved it. I know you will too. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you. Vincent, I like this idea of working with the voice, of saying, oh, you don't think this is working? Why? So is that actual dialogue that you have?
Yeah, sometimes it requires like sort of walking away from the piece to like let it breathe, and then I come back with fresh eyes. So I think it's part of it has to do with like the way I think about storytelling now. Because before, when I had written my first book, which you can see in the poster, Burn Down, Rise Up. When I wrote that first book, it was all vibes. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, I want to write a killer horror story that's set in the Bronx, and I'm just going to do that. And while I was working on it with my agent said, hey, have you heard of, Save the Cat? Like these story structures. Like, in hindsight, I'm just like, was she trying to say something about the way I was writing? But like, in the long run, it did help my writing a lot better. So now I have a stack of like writing craft books, like somewhere in the house, and I read them intermittently. I like highlight. I try to really learn how to make an effective story. And then like once I feel like, okay, it's effective, how do I make it fun?
Ooh, I love that. Now, I just had the very great pleasure of hosting Vincent at the Boston Book Festival on stage. And Vincent, you talked a lot about your relationship with your agent and how she's helped you with gentle yet probing questions like, have you heard of or have you considered? Tell us a little bit more about this, because it sounds like you both have this incredible connection, this incredible relationship, and has really blossomed into a beautiful partnership. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So my agent Christina is also Latina. She's Argentinian, I believe. And she picked up my first book when I queried her. She had a clear connection because she also like grew up in New York City, and like she remembered growing up, her mom was just like, the Bronx is really dangerous because of the time that she was growing up in. And so when I wrote this book, she felt a very strong connection, and like just speaking with her, I was like, okay, I think I want to work with this agent. And since then, it's been really great because I am not someone who intuitively knows, what it's like to be an author or what I should be doing as an author. So I appreciate that, like, while she is my agent, she's also somewhat of a mentor in like, oh, like try doing this, or like if you're struggling with like how to write these scenes, consider reading this. And it's just been wonderful.
It's so interesting to me that you say that that you are, quote, not a person who knows intuitively what it is to be an author, because I'm looking at you with 3 books under your belt and you are an author. And I have those same thoughts. I only have 2 books under my belt, but I have those same thoughts of, oh, I'm not a real author, or I even struggle to say I'm an author. How's that evolving for you?
It's definitely something that I'm starting to like. Just now I'm starting to feel like, okay, I think I've got a handle on this. I have the social media, I have my website, I know how to like make events and everything. It's like, practice makes perfect. I'm getting a little bit better with it over time. And I think what helps is just like the people I surround myself with. So like a lot of my friends will like come up to me completely unprompted and be like, hey, so I helped you sell like one of your books. Like they hadn't heard about it and I sold them so well, they bought like gifts for all their friends. And I'm just like, you didn't have to do all that, but thank you. Like it's so nice having people that like truly believe in you and are like really do want to see you succeed.
Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. And Kaylin Bayron is another one who I would say believes in you and wants to see you succeed. Let's take a look at what Kaylin has to say. Quote, a deeply disconcerting and fully engrossing tale that explores the dangers of conformity and the effects of assimilation on the mind, body, and spirit. Vincent's work casts off the illusion of a white picket fence as protection and asks you to consider that the real monsters are the ones who lurk behind it. Dun, dun, dun. Now, Vincent, as you were sitting down to write, we came to welcome you. Were you thinking to yourself, I'd like to write a book that destroys the illusion of white picket fence as protection and asks you to consider that the real monsters are the ones who lurk behind it? Or were you like, I'm just going to write a horrific, rollicking good time and let it land where it is, real?
So when I was first starting this, and I explained my thought process behind this at a different book event, but usually when I start any book, my first question, like the first idea that pops into mind is, what is going to be the monster of this book?
Ooh.
I don't know who the main characters are yet. I just decide for We Came to Welcome You, I was just like, you know what? I would love to write about an evil HOA. I would love to just do that. And then I had to think like, okay, if this is the HOA, what is the theme of the book going to be? And then it became like, okay, HOA, gated neighborhood. Let's do assimilation. Like it seems it works together. And then I started thinking of, okay, who's going to be the main character? What sort of baggage are they going to have coming into this neighborhood? How does the neighborhood just keep like piercing at her, just keep like needling into her? And from then on, I was just like, okay, now I have my characters. Now I need to figure out how do I build this road? Because for me, a road is a theme. The theme is like how I get from point A to point B. And once I have the monster and the theme and the character, I'm like all set to write.
Now, Vincent, you live in Philadelphia. Do you have an HOA, a homeowners association where you live, and have they read it?
I definitely do not. Like I'm still renting. There is no homeowners association where I'm living right now.
I wonder, I think you should send when and if you ever decide to buy, and if you're getting evaluated by a co-op or an HOA, you should just send this to them and be like, listen, if you don't want to end up as the monster in my next book, you're going to sell me this place.
There was so much. So because I've never owned a home and I've never dealt with an HOA, there was a lot of like research I had to be done on like just how an HOA functions. And a lot of my information, I'm not ashamed to say, I was on Reddit, like just the HOA forums. Everyone, there's never a good story about the HOA over there.
There's never is, and also Nextdoor, the Nextdoor app is a treasure trove of neighborly drama. I love for it. I love it. I live for this stuff. Well, Booklist says that this is a creeptastic, tongue-in-cheek combination of the Stepford Wives and Invasion of the Body Snatchers, all wrapped up into a cookie-cutter suburban nightmare. I love that review because the comps are so perfect and so tasty. Tell us about when you got this review? What were your thoughts?
I was absolutely over the moon about it because I was like, yes, this is exactly the vibe I was going for. This is exactly what I wanted to like. So much of my inspiration did come from like Stepford Wives, Body Snatchers, but also very specifically season 3 of You on Netflix, because that was the season where Penn Badgley's character Joe was like, oh, I have a wife now and we're gonna have a kid together, and like this is our house in this insane neighborhood where apparently one of the insane mothers is like, oh, we don't give our children sugar, and that includes fruit because fruit has sugar. Like and the character just delivers it with such ferocity, and just like she's so earnest about it. She's like, fruit has sugar, we can't give them that. I felt like I was on the set of like the Truman Show. I was like looking into the camera. I was like, what is going on here? But a lot of the inspiration also came from that very specific season.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. Oh my goodness, we have Aline Cogdell, the legendary book critic from the Sun Sentinel, Publishers Weekly, Shelf Awareness in the house. Aline, welcome, and what a pleasure and an honor to have you with us tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sharon says, the more you talk about this book, the more I have to have it. Well, Sharon, on that note, we have copies available tonight from our favorite woman-owned independent bookstore. That is, of course, Murder by the Book. And you can get your copy right here, whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube. You can order We Came to Welcome You now. So I'm going to pop that link up. And whether you're watching with us on Facebook or YouTube, just get your little mitts clicking so that you can get your hands on We Came to Welcome You. There it is, complete with that Stepford wife pie. I absolutely loved it.
People did not see like the vines and stuff coming out of it. It's,
oh my god, how can you not see the vines?
They were distracted by the welcoming nature of
the welcoming nature.
Yes.
Now, Vincent, some people are watching with us later and submitted questions in advance, so I do want to get to a few of those. Amanda wants to know, speaking of which, did you get to choose the cover? Tell us the story, because I think the cover is gorgeous and so perfect for it.
I actually drew up sort of a draft of the cover and like sent it to. I didn't do this cover. That wasn't me, but I drew a draft. I was like, okay, I want like 3 people, standing side by side. I don't want faces. The faces can't be shown. It has to be absolutely in shadow. Everything else has to be looking lovely. Like, so there's it's just really nice greenery in the background. The sun is shining and everything, but the faces are encased in shadow. And I actually didn't come up with the pie. I was just like, have them hold something like as a welcoming present. Like, we'll figure out a way to make that very creepy. They came up with the pie, even though it's not in the book. But I just love the fact that it kind of calls back to the trope of like, a new neighbor has moved in. Let's bring over a pie, or like something
exactly.
Like that. So I just fell in love with this. I was just like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted.
And not, yeah, and I was keeping my eye out for the pie, but I think it also draws on that whole Stepford wife. The little wife has to cook a pie, has to bake a pie, so going to welcome the neighbors with a good old American pie, so cherry pie. So it was so perfect to conjure that Stepford wifey trope. A question from Vanessa. Tell us about the audiobook. She's interested in the audiobook. She wants to know about the voice.
I didn't have much like control over the voice, to be quite honest. I know the voice actor specifically also did like my last book. So the last one was We Don't Swim Here. So she worked on that one as well. And then when the opportunity came up for her again, I was like, okay, sure. Like, we've worked together before. But I didn't really have much like control over the audio. I was just like, okay, whoever you find is fine, I guess.
But I feel like it's nice to have someone that has stuck with you through multiple books, because they start to get a sense of you get a sense of them, you start to have that sort of deepening connection. Alan wants to know, do you have a favorite scene in the book? And I just want to remind you, no spoilers here, of course.
Oh my god. Okay. Favorite scene of the book. Okay, I will do you one better. I will tell you exactly which scene has happened to me.
Oh, wait, what? Vincent, you held this back at Boston Book Festival. You didn't tell us that something happened to you. Spill the tea, Vincent.
So it was over like a weekend. The entire week, actually, I was home. I wasn't doing anything. I was just kind of minding my own business. And I was starting to have an afro. It was like back when the natural hair community was starting to really pop. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to cut off all my hair and like just regrow it natural. So while I had a big old afro going on, and it's one day when I'm just like combing my hair, I'm detangling, and I reach in and I pull out a twig. And I am flabbergasted because I have not left the house all week. There is no way like this, like, imagine just, I'm wondering just like, okay, did this twig suddenly appear? Because this does not make sense. Because I detangled my hair every single day and I've never found a twig. But that one day I found a twig and I was like, okay, this is a little bit concerning now.
Oh my God. So did you ever find out what happened?
No, I just kind of, I'm one of those people that like, if you put me in a horror movie, I am the one who aggressively minds their own business.
You're the one who would go into the basement, who would be like, oh, the sound of chainsaws.
Like, no, it's like if I hear, and this has happened like in various apartments of mine, if I hear something like move in like another room that no one's in, I will simply look in that direction and sort of like in my mind, I'm like, I dare you to do it again because I don't have time for this. I will aggressively mind my own business. I'm not checking for scary noises. If it doesn't happen twice, it doesn't matter. If it happened the first time, it's the wind. I don't care. It's my cat, whatever. But I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm gonna come and like find out what's going on. I'm not interested. I'm not interested.
Oh my God. So I just started watching that new Netflix series, Alien Abductions. Like, I am that person who will watch it, about the 1989 Manhattan alien abduction that had 23 witnesses of a woman pulled out of her window in Lower Manhattan and raised up to and sucked into a hovering craft above that looked like a clamshell.
Yeah.
And all of these people, including two federal cops, saw her getting sucked out her window and up into the air. And she then shared that she had first had this feeling that she had been abducted when she went upstate and woke up in the woods with twigs in her hair. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, Vincent, were you abducted by aliens? Is this how the twig got in your hair?
If I was, I would be upset that they brought me back. Like we could have had a whole Doctor Who thing going on. I could have been like just out in the world. Why would you put me back on Earth if you abducted? Like, let me
write your books. Vincent, they brought you back. They brought you back to write your books. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I just realized we are out of time. Time flies when you are having this much fun. I just want to thank you, Vincent, for coming on and telling us about We Came to Welcome You. Are there any secrets about this book that you've never before revealed that you would like to spill right here on Mystery and Thriller Mavens? Maybe something about you have a good one, I can tell.
The no spoilers. So Sol is a scientist who like primarily works with parasites. All of her research is just my senior thesis. I like went back into my college notes and I was just like, there's got to be something in here I can use. Yeah. So all that stuff about toxoplasmosis, like I was doing that was me in college.
Vincent, you held a lot back on stage at the Boston Book Festival, and I'm just glad that we had you on tonight at Mystery Thriller Mavens so we could get the real tea. Because wow, oh my gosh. Okay, last question from Rebecca. She wants to know: can you tell us about anything you're working on next?
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. So my next book is sort of like a Dominican Knives Out. So a wealthy Dominican family gets together and they are together for the reading of the will because the family patriarch has died. The lawyer arrives, he opens the letter that has the will, and he gives a big heaping sigh and reads the letter, and it says, if you're reading this, one of you is not who you say you are. One of you is El Vaca, the demon that I made a deal with many years ago. You have to figure out who it is and get rid of them, or you will all be damned. And the entire book is just like the family trying to figure out, is this for real? Like, what demon? Because our father could not have been like consorting with, like, we grew up Catholic. We would never. But yeah, so that the entire book is a really cool Knives Out situation.
Oh my God, Dominican Knives Out sounds so good. I watched Knives Out the weekend it came out. I was completely obsessed. I Googled all about that house, which is in Massachusetts.
Oh, okay.
It's a real house. And oh my God, Chris Evans is the bad guy. Oops, if anybody saw it, hasn't seen it yet, sorry.
They're fine.
Okay, thank you. And oh my God, it was so good. So this sounds absolutely fabulous. And one of you isn't who you say you are. Oh my God, now I need to know who isn't who they say they are, Vincent. Now I need to know. Shara's saying sweet. Totally. Oh my gosh. Well, Vincent, do you have a pub day yet or not yet?
Sometime 2026. Don't really know specifically, but yeah, it's going to be a long ride.
Okay. Do you have a title yet?
I want to call it Kaleidoscope, but we're kind of shopping around different titles.
Ooh, well, you have to come back when Kaleidoscope or TBD title is out because now I have to read it and we have to know who isn't who they say they are and what's going to happen next. So please come back in 2026 or whenever the book it comes out.
Of course.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us right here on Mystery and Thriller Mavens. That is a wrap for us. I hope your week is off to a killer start. May the days and the pages fly by, and I will see you right here back next Monday for Mystery Monday. Stay safe and be well until then. And don't forget to vote.